Good evening to everybody. All right, let's see here. Let me get my water. Good evening to everyone. Hope everybody is doing fine. Hope everybody's doing well. If you're on the East Coast, of course, it is about 6:30. If you're on the West Coast, it's probably more so, probably about 3:30. So, anyway, look forward to talking to everybody today. The discussion today is, or the conversation that we're having today is retirement possible? Is retirement possible? And it's an interesting subject to discuss because so many people, have a mindset and they say, "Hey, I want to be able to retire at this age. I want to be able to retire at that age." And so it's a thing in our culture in America with the subject of retirement and trying to make it possible for each and every person. So I want to talk about the subject of retirement. And we'll probably be on for about 30 minutes, maybe 25 to 30 minutes. We'll be on talking about retirement, what retirement looks like, what retirement is to you. And also, we'll discuss strategies or game plans to be able to retire in a realistic time frame. So, also, if you are tuning in, just know if Facebook tuning in, on live on Facebook, if it's inconvenient for you, just know that you can also tune in to my YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel is Coach Steele's Finance Training. Coach Steele's Finance Training. And there you'll see a lot of other videos that I have there talking about financial literacy, and feel free to jump on those and watch a lot of those as well. And also, anytime I'm doing a video, I post a video or go live, you'll always get those alerts. So definitely jump on the YouTube channel and subscribe. And even while we're on here on Facebook Live, even though I'm discussing is retirement possible, feel free to put in the comment section of things you want to discuss, things you want to talk about. Understand that we want to make having the discussion and conversation about subjects around financial literacy, we want to make it normal. We want it to be something common in every community, in your circle, in your space. We want it to become a norm so that it doesn't seem taboo to have certain conversations in the household, so that we can reach the people we need to reach, so that they can be educated and so that they can grow concerning financial literacy as well. Uh, so many households, people grow up not being able to have the conversation about financial literacy, not having the conversation on how do you prepare for retirement. So, as we dive into that conversation about retirement, here's my first question to everyone tuning in. What is retirement to you? Feel free to comment. What is retirement to you? What does retirement look like for you? When you think of the word retirement, what comes to your mind? What goes through your head? What are your thoughts when it comes to the subject of retirement? What comes to your mind when we think about the subject of retirement? Is it uh, being able to have the opportunity to travel? For some people, retirement means having the opportunity to travel, to go different places that they've always wanted to go, and being able to go without a time limit, without time restraints, without having to clock in anywhere. Retirement for some people is being able to travel, see the world, see the country that they live in. Retirement for some people is being able to have the financial freedom to go study certain things. Oddly enough, for some people, retirement may be to put themselves in an educational space to learn. For some people, it may be leaving their 9 to 5 and going back to school to study something that is their passion, which also leads to the other thing that some people like to retire for, and it's their passion work. So, things that people feel passionately about, that they want to study, that they want to learn, and also be able to execute. Some people may have a passion to help homeless people. And so if they're no longer at their 9 to 5 and they're not just doing part time helping with homeless people or part time donating and giving, they may want to take on that role in a bigger capacity than what they were doing because they no longer have a 9 to 5 obligation. That may be someone's passion work. For someone else, it may be volunteer work. For another person, it may be doing ministry work, going out, doing missions trips throughout the year. So it's not that they necessarily physically retired from doing anything and put their hands up, kick back, and relax, but retirement, stepping away from that 9 to 5 environment, that contract work, whatever it is, and allowing themselves to be so financially free that they can do what their heart's desires, what their passions are, whether they're getting paid for it or whether they don't receive anything, that they can seek those different goals and dreams that they want to accomplish. So, what is retirement to you? Oddly enough, for some people, they have made up their mind that they do not want to stop working. They never want to leave the job they're at. They love it, they enjoy it. And so for them, they don't see retirement as something that they desire to do or a situation that they desire to create for themselves financially. So there are some people who think the word retirement is taboo and that you should always work. You should always be at a job. You should always be conducting some type of 9 to 5. What is retirement to you? Anyone, what is retirement to you? And is it possible? Oh, that's a good question. What is it to you? And the thing that retirement is to you, is it possible? Is it attainable? Is it something that you can reach? And if so, what does it look like? What does your retirement look like when you reach it, when you can grab and touch that thing? And what are the steps that are necessary to get there? Now, we also know, even though we have a desire to retire or be able to do our passion work, to do our volunteer work, to do ministry work, to do retirement for some people may be a hobby. They may have a hobby or something they like doing. I don't care if it's playing bingo, collecting cards, collecting coins, going to events. They're part of certain clubs and organizations that travel, that meet up, that come together. And fellowship and have a good time. Everyone has a different mindset when it comes to retirement. So it's not always I'm going to sit back, relax on a beach and not do anything. Although for some people that may be what retirement looks like. They may have worked 40, 50 years and they do want to sit back on a beach and relax on some type of island or wherever on the coast, just enjoying the weather, enjoying nature, and just having a nice time, having to do absolutely nothing, not being required to do anything. So, as we get older, for people who don't desire to retire or don't have a plan to retire, we must understand that things change as we get older. Yes, every single day, every minute, of course, we all get older. We all continue to age. So, whether you have a plan or not, one thing that is going to continue to stay in motion is we are going to constantly age. We're going to constantly get older. And so, we have to, whether we want to or not, we should have a mindset to think about if situations change, if physical situations change, if mental situations change, how can I sustain and maintain myself successfully financially? And so that's why thinking about retirement is important and essential for every single person. And I think, not think, I know when we think about and talk about the subject of retirement, you have to adjust your mindset and make sure that you're putting yourself in position to retire yourself independently. What does that mean? Well, to me, retire yourself independently is something that you have control over and you solely were able to set up and be able to function and operate because of the work that you did. Anytime we think about retirement and having to depend on the government like Social Security, If that is your sole strategy, then 9 times out of 10, when you get ready to retire, there's going to be a struggle financially because it may not be enough. It may not be enough to cover your standard and quality of living. And we'll dive into that as well a little bit further. So just remember, keep that in mind that as we age, sometimes things physically change, things mentally change, or you can plan to work at a job as long as you want, but that doesn't mean that that business plans to stay in business that long. It doesn't mean that the company plans to keep you that long. And so it's important that everyone thinks about retirement, because if you don't think about retirement, you could potentially set yourself up for failure, and you could potentially set your family up for failure. And so retirement is important because when you come up with a plan, it needs to be realistic so that you can get yourself to a certain position and place comfortably financially. And in our community, in this world, we do not discuss enough what it takes to retire comfortably. Hello, Miss McKinney. Hello, Lori. Greetings to you as well. She said, greeting, Coach Steele. Absolutely. Yeah, so we're on here talking about financial literacy and is retirement possible and how to set yourself up successfully for retirement. In this day and age, it's different from years ago when our parents, grandparents uh, would be able to work at a job or a factory for 30, 35 years, be able to retire comfortably. The cost of living was different versus now. Years ago, there were families that could survive and maintain off of one income in the house. Maybe the father could go work a nice job and be able to maintain the whole house. And of course, we'd see in the old movies, the wife would stay home, cook, clean, raise the kids. Kids would grow up in a good environment, learn a lot because they had a parent always there to help nurture them and guide them through the process. Nowadays, trying to maintain a household off of one income, whew, mission impossible. It's possible, but it is sometimes difficult depending on what that one income is. So, planning for retirement is important. Things happen in life, our bodies change, our mentalities change. And like I said, most importantly, a company can decide to just be done with you, or a company can fail. We seen years ago banks that were too big to fail, and the government had to bail them out. We saw in 2008 multiple companies couldn't survive the storm and they fell apart. We've seen multiple companies in 2020 and 2021 because of the pandemic. They laid people off, they sent people home. And so you must understand you have to prepare. And so Miss Lori's answer is yes, they could. You made more with less. It's possible if you live within your means. And so now you have to think about, what are your means? Can you live within your means? And here's the interesting part. Some people, it may be difficult for them to retire because of potential debt that they have created. And so if you have certain levels of debt and your job was helping you be able to maintain and help pay that debt, when you retire, usually your income decreases. Whatever that job was paying you when you were active and working, your retirement check is usually potentially less than what you were making when you were active. And so are you, and we'll talk about this, are you making necessary adjustments in your budget now so that when you do retire, whatever you're receiving, it can maintain you monthly, paying the electric bill, water bill, all those utilities. If you have a mortgage, can you pay that? Think about all those different things and what they add up to be. So just remember that a company is not obligated to stay in business or continue to hire you, keep you employed just because you desire to retire there. So as we think about all of that, it's all more important to be able to understand what your means are. So when you're living within your means, what is that? What does that mean for each person? Everybody's financial uh, situation is different. Everybody's income is different. Your cash flow at the end of the month is different. What are your means? What does it take for you to maintain yourself every single month? What does it cost to maintain yourself monthly? What does it cost for you to be able to maintain yourself annually? And as we look at that, keep in mind, we're looking at that right now in 2024. So 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years, how far is retirement from you today? 25 years, what is it going to cost for you to maintain yourself however many years from now? Does it take you at least $5,000 a month right now to be able to maintain yourself? Is it $3,000 a month? Think about what it takes monthly for you to be able to pay everything and maintain your lifestyle every month. Now, 20 years from now, will it cost the same amount? Will the house be paid off? Will you have a car note? Are you the type of person that you like to buy vehicles? Do you know that there are going to be other potential liabilities? What does it take for you to maintain yourself monthly? Is it $5,000 a month? What does it take for you to maintain yourself annually? 5,000 times 12, that's $60,000. Does it cost you $10,000 to maintain your lifestyle? So in retirement, is it going to cost you $120,000 annually to maintain your lifestyle, your family? Are kids going to be gone? Are you still going to be obligated to other financial obligations? Start thinking now. See, we have to be proactive now in that process, no matter where you are. I don't care. Don't let anyone make you think that it's too late to start making plans. Don't let anyone make you think that you can't start making adjustments now, whether you're too young or whether you're too old. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps that puzzle come together. Every penny, every dollar, all of those pieces of the puzzles help come together so that you can properly prepare for retirement. And what's interesting is when you start thinking about what it takes monthly for you to maintain yourself, you can start coming closer to a ballpark of what you would need to retire. And we're going to dive into what financial counselors and coaches and different people tell you how much you need to be able to retire comfortably at 67. So we'll go over that formula and what they say is required. But just remember, start thinking about what it takes annually for you to maintain yourself, what it takes monthly for you to maintain yourself. And here's another key factor. When you start thinking about what it takes for you to maintain yourself monthly in 2024, whether in 2026, 2030, 2045, whenever you retire, what impact is inflation going to have on your number? If your number is 5,000 a month right now, what impact is inflation going to have on that number? Food and groceries, are they going to be cheaper? If we look at the history, we remember those, if you're old enough, you remember those bag of chips that used to be 25 cents. Well, now that small bag of chips is no longer 25 cents. We remember candy that you could buy for 5 cents, but that candy is no longer 5 cents. All those things have increased in price. Food, groceries, bread, you name it, all of it costs more than what it once did. I don't think 20 years from now, all of a sudden a loaf of bread is going to be cheaper. It's going to continue to increase. So if it costs you 5,000 to maintain yourself, you have to be creative. You have to say, do I have any debt? Do I have any liabilities? Are there things that I can pay off before I get to retirement so that I have more cash flow so that when retirement meets inflation, I've done certain things to be able to cancel out bills so that my retirement can overtake and be able to handle inflation that is coming. And so the cost of living and things are going to continue to go up. Now, as we dive deeper into this, we understand the history of inflation. Things cost more. So how do you allow or create monthly income to be able to set you up and be able to come through consistently when you leave your job? And one of the best things you can do, one of the most important things you can do is find a way to bring in money, whether you're asleep or await that money will come to you, money will come in, uh, what we call passive income, that you can make passive income without necessarily having to be dependent on a 9 to 5 situation or on a contract situation. And so where you have to physically be there. So we have to start being creative. And some of the ways you can do that, of course, creating that passive income, being able to make money, being able to have cash flow consistently every month, is one simple way is, of course, we know through retirement accounts. And so some people have a job. And if you have a job, many jobs do have 401k plans, TSPs, 457s, and all those other names that are out there that I can't think of off the top of my head. And so if the company you work for has certain retirement plans, you can invest in those. Some people choose to invest in it, some people don't. Some companies, when you do invest in them, they do match it up to a certain percent. And so when it comes to planning for retirement, one of the things you can do, whether it's a little or a lot, start doing what you can now to invest in that retirement plan with the company. Now, we're going to go over a few other options as well, but that's just one of the first ones that we're talking about. Being able to take a portion of your check and invest it into the retirement plan that is connected with your company, which of course is basically connected to the stock market. Now, you can get more information from your company, find out what their matching is. Are they matching 3%? How much of it are they matching? And so, in other words, they're going to give you money that goes into that retirement plan. Some people call it free money, but you work for them. So clearly you've earned it and you work for the money. But definitely take that match amount that they're giving you and utilize that 401k plan. And long term, if you end up changing it or you don't like it as you get older, I'm sure you can roll it over into something else. I'm not a financial expert. And so whatever I say, double check, fact check, go do your own research. I'm not giving any advice on what to invest in and what not to invest in, just making you aware that you need to start doing certain things to prepare for retirement. And so if your company doesn't have a retirement plan, then you can easily open up a Roth IRA on your own. You can open up an individual retirement account. And so it's not difficult. It's something that would take, not too long at all, maybe a couple minutes, but open up an individual retirement account, a Roth IRA. So now you have your own account set up that you can put money in monthly, that you can put funds in and do your research. Find out how much can I contribute into this retirement account monthly or annually? How much can I contribute annually to this retirement account? What is the max amount I can put in here? So you'll know if I do this consistently every year and max this out and it's making a certain rate, certain profit or a certain interest annually, where will I see myself 10 years from now, 20 years from now, if I continue this habit or this behavior? So just keep in mind, that's just another way that you can start planning so that when you retire, you can draw income and receive contributions from your retirement account. Distributions from your retirement account monthly so that you can maintain yourself. But how much needs to be in that retirement account? How much needs to be in that 401k or IRA for you to be able to retire comfortably? Those are the numbers and the things you have to look at. Now, what's interesting is if you were to ask an expert, they may tell you in your retirement account, you need to have saved at least 10 times the amount of your annual pay in that account. Now, that's one way that they say you can retire comfortably. You need to save at least 10 times the amount of your annual salary by the age of 67. I think that's only just one way to do it. It isn't the end all be all, because if you think about it, the average person having to overthink that I have to save at least 10 times the amount of my annual salary by age 67, for some people that can be overwhelming. It is possible, it is doable, but you do need to start contributing into those retirement accounts now. But it is not the only way. So if someone made $50,000 a year, annual salary, 50,000. 50,000 times 10 is 500,000. It's $500,000. So if that person potentially made their retirement account grew to $500,000 because they contributed to it, the market increased, they made profits, compound interest does what it does, and then all of a sudden when they hit 67 they have $500,000. The math, what they say, that person should be able to retire comfortably. But some people are 55, some people are 45, and they may not have a window to get to that $500,000 mark or whatever their annual salary is times 10. They may not be getting there. Now, just because you can't get to the $500,000 mark doesn't mean you should give up and quit. Oh, no. If all you can do is get to 100,000, that's fine. You get to 100,000, whatever that number is. If you can only make it to 50, whatever that number is, get to it. But keep in mind, it doesn't take a large lump sum of thousands and thousands of dollars, whether it's $500,000 or whether it's $1,000,000. It does not take that to necessarily be able to allow you to maintain your lifestyle and retire comfortably. Think about this. What you need is passive income that will come in monthly to be able to maintain what your expenses are. So let's say I don't have 500,000 or $1,000,000 off to the side, but all my expenses and everything cost $5,000 a month to be able to maintain myself. All I need is income of 5,000 a month. And so let's say, for example, someone has real estate. So you may not have $1,000,000 in a 401k, but let's say you have a few real estate properties or a few multifamily unit properties, fourplex, 12 doors, whatever it is, the amount is 6 doors. And that rental income gives you $5,000 a month. After you've paid everything or whatever expenses there are, your profits are $5,000 a month. That person may not have $500,000 sitting in a bank account, but that real estate that is generating passive income, money from those tenants, it's just as good of the $500,000 because it's consistently bringing in passive income. So don't always think that if you could not put enough into your retirement account, there's no way you would be able to retire and you have to work forever. You just have to work smarter and not always necessarily have to work harder. But even when you think about that, work smarter, not harder, I think you should do both. I think you should work smarter and work hard to get to where you're trying to go. But anyway, real estate is another way to bring in passive income. Do your research, do your homework, learn how to invest in real estate, learn how to get rental properties, and you'll end up finding out once you put your hand to the plow and you're not timid and afraid, you'll learn that it's not as complicated as you thought it was. And so you can continue to grow real estate portfolio pretty smooth, and you don't have to rush into a deal. Find good deals. Take your time. You don't have a time limit, or you're not on a stop clock, or anything like that. So it's not a 100-meter race. Building a real estate portfolio is a marathon. You take your time, you add to it, you may take away, you may adjust some things, you may trade some things out, and you continue to build it to create that passive income amount that you're looking for. Now, when you do your first real estate deal, is it going to bring that $5,000 in? It may not. What if it only brings $400 in a month? Well, that's a start. You started somewhere. And it's an extra $400 a month that you made. So now when you bring in that extra $400 a month off that one deal, you've created passive income. And if you didn't have enough money to put into your 401k or your IRA, you can take the money from that real estate investment, that $400, and use it to fund your retirement account. What did you just do? Kill two birds with one stone. I'm now funding my retirement account, and I'm building my real estate portfolio, which is bringing in passive income. So now you could potentially have the $500,000 in cash and have the real estate bringing in money. So you make an adjustment, and making one move solves two problems. So Also, dividend stocks. You can invest in dividend stocks. And so those are certain stocks in the stock market where you can buy shares of those companies. And some companies, when you buy shares, they will give you a dividend, whether it's monthly, whether it's quarterly. Do your research and find out what the dividends are, but constantly reinvesting your money and reinvesting the dividends into these companies that give you dividends, because they're dividend stocks, it creates passive income. In other words, you're making money without having to clock in, and you can start taking the dividends while you're young and you don't need the money. You can take that money and reinvest it back into there to buy more shares. So now you're not necessarily buying shares with your money, but you're using the profits, the dividends, to buy more shares and allow that option to keep growing. And lastly, one of the other things you can do to create passive income is you can also create a business and build that business up to the point to where eventually someone else can work that business or run that business. And if you build the business up to the point to where someone else can work it or run it, but you're still over it, then that business can bring in income. As being that entrepreneur that you are, that business can bring in income to help maintain your lifestyle. So yes, we can prepare for retirement. Retirement is possible. Retirement looks different from everyone. In conclusion, some people for retirement is traveling. For some people, it's hobbies, it's passion work, it's ministry work, it's volunteer work. Retirement looks different for each individual, but it is possible, and we do need to prepare for it because things happen in life, whether it's physically to us, whether it's mentally to us, or sometimes we have to not, it's not necessarily us, but we want to be able to go help other people. We want to be able to help a family member or be there for them. And so if we can disconnect from that 9 to 5, it's beautiful because we have that freedom to be able to do it. Once again, keep in mind, inflation is going to play a factor in what you expect to have or see monthly. So we have to start preparing now for later. There was a candy called Now Laters. So think about that, those two words. We have to start preparing now for what we expect later because the cost of living, I believe, and I'm confident, will continue to rise in America. The value of dollar will continue to decrease in America because there is a lot of debt and we can't expect the government to bail us out for retirement. We have to start being creative and doing the things necessary for ourselves to be independent. And whatever else the government adds onto it, then great. That'll be overflow. But start doing the things that are necessary now. And remember, it's not too late. It's never too late. I appreciate everyone that did join in. I appreciate everyone that did tune in. Keep in mind, if you don't like being on Facebook or you're busy and you want to be able to continue to listen, you can always jump on YouTube and subscribe on my YouTube channel, Coach Steele's Finance Training. Coach Steele's Finance Training. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment, share all of this information, pass it around. We have to make financial literacy become a norm in our community. We have to be able to make these conversations become regular so that we can be prepared. Another homework assignment that I'll give you all before I get off: research what people are least likely to be prepared for retirement. Look up the statistics, and it says what class or what group of people are least likely prepared for retirement in America. That's the homework assignment. And we'll touch on this retirement subject again. Today's Monday. Maybe I'll bring it back up this Saturday when I go live, or possibly before that. I think I like this subject. And remember, there's multiple ways to prepare for retirement by creating that passive income, by putting funds now into those 401ks, the IRAs, building a real estate portfolio, investing in dividend stocks, or creating a business that can be ran to bring in more income while you're enjoying those different passions and things that you like. Once again, appreciate everybody tuning in. It has been an amazing subject. I cannot wait to talk about the next thing. If you watch this later on, after I've got off live, I thank you for joining in as well. So shout out to you as well. If you couldn't tune in when I went live and you decided to jump in after the fact, feel free to leave a comment. I'll read and check all of them. And like I said, if you have a subject that you want to discuss or something about financial literacy, feel free to leave it in. And if it makes sense, I will definitely talk about it. But I enjoyed each and every one of you, and I love everybody. And share this with somebody who needs it. Be blessed.